So here we are, about June 30th, and I just want to bring this up because it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. This is the first time the cattle have been in this paddock. We haven't touched it yet, and it is long. I'm talking like up to my chest. What I've noticed what happens is when they come into this area, and especially if they're so well fed, is what they're doing is they're picking off exactly what they want. They want the tips of the candy. If you look out here, you can see a lot of the clover flowers are actually gone. That's what they're eating, just the flowers this week, which is crazy. The problem is what they do is, and it's not really a problem, the phenomenon is what they're doing is they're running around this whole pasture, they're picking up those clovers, and they're crushing everything else down with their body weight. So what you see is what you get after a day of that. Just one day is something like this. Whereas we have a few acre paddock, we're only running 50 cattle right now, where this normally would be at least 2 days of forage for them. We've got it all knocked down on the ground. I don't know if you can see this, but man, it's just flat all along here because they sat on it, they knocked it down, or they walked over it to get that cream of the crop. Could I leave them in here another day? Probably, but would I be risk losing weight? Yes. So what we did was, we did an unscheduled quick move this morning just to get them out of this paddock and get them fresh forage. And this evening when I get back from work, I'll move them to their official new paddock. I don't think this is a problem. Everybody always talks about how trampled forage is worth just as much as forage that goes through the animal, and I truly believe that. So what we'll do is, in a month to 2 months, we come back to this paddock, we'll make another video, and we'll check out what's happened to it. Peace.